here's Brody Brazil.
You know, if the Dreamers want to be taken seriously in Orlando, one of the key components they'll need in their favor is having a site that is controlled by them and shovel ready. Now, they have identified this particular site just north of Aquatica and SeaWorld where they really want to go. They've really settled in on this site. We've seen renderings, we've seen talk about this, but now there's also some debate. As they get farther along in this process, there's going to be people in Orange County and Orlando who say, wait just a second, we might be okay with this idea of a baseball team, but we're not particularly thrilled with this site, or we think there's a better site, or we're not even happy with this site. So there's a lot of different opinions that are going to arise. Again, the farther down the road that the Dreamers actually get. Their preferred location, 35.5-acre site, it's owned by Orange County right now. That's the one that these renderings are from. I'll show you the satellite view in just a second. It's near SeaWorld. It's near the Orange County Convention Center. Jim Schnorf is the Dreamers co-founder. He recently said this about the site that they've chosen, quote, "We've spent an inordinate amount of time looking at situations in other metro areas, talking to architects, team owners, sports writers." Wow, they've considered the media, players, and other stakeholders when considering stadium metrics. Stadium location is very important. And I'm not here to say that it's do or die for this site, but it does seem like this is the one that they are actively pushing, and they don't really want to talk about anything else. And it's kind of a weird layout, right? Where there's a thicker piece of land, then it kind of gets thin, and it's this domed stadium turned into really a greenhouse. Is it not going to get super hot in there? I like the idea of natural sun, but I also wonder, like, catching a pop fly in there with glass and reflections. And I mean, who knows if these drawings are actually possible. We also understand that drawings and renderings are conceptual by nature, and they don't ultimately turn out like this. But they're really trying to kind of shoehorn this site, kind of shaped like a shoehorn, kind of fit that into this location between the interstate there as well as Aquatica. And let me just kind of show you the lay of the land. You can see that big building with the white roof up by Interstate 4. That's the Orange County Convention Center. But this site just north of Aquatica, Orlando, and kind of parallel to across the road from SeaWorld Orlando. But we actually want to zoom out here and show you the bigger idea of where this site actually is in Orlando. There's the international airport, right? So the heavy air traffic, most of the tourists flying into the airport there. How about downtown Orlando? That's where 15 and 4 kind of meet on the eastern side of Interstate 4. There's Universal Orlando. That's across the way. There's the Orange County Convention Center at the very tip of that pin drop right there. Off the map is Epcot and Disney World. You can't see that, but it's kind of southwest of this location right here. And then eventually I'm going to draw the pin right there. The tip of the pin is that site. So it kind of gives you an idea of the lay of the land. This is far away from downtown Orlando. This is more of a theme park area type, suburban piece of property type location, which, as you know, is not typical for what a lot of baseball teams and stadiums are trying to accomplish in this day and age. Maybe they're going out to the suburbs to have a bunch of land, but this is only 35 acres. It's not a big piece of land, and it's not close to downtown. So does it really thrive and survive on tourism? I mean, the Athletics have said in Las Vegas, they're going to rely on 30% tourism. What would the tourism look like here in Orlando? We'll save that for a different video. But according to the Orlando Business Journal, some have pushed for a potential stadium in downtown Orlando. So now that you're aware, you've seen the map, it's just a little bit up north. Ryan Young, co-founder and CEO of Interstruct Design and Build, which has its headquarters in the city's Parramore neighborhood. Am I pronouncing that right? See, I believe it's Parramore. Let me know if you're from Orlando. West of downtown, said the West Church Street corridor could be a fit for the facility, including some of the properties zoned for industrial or commercial. And actually, when I show you the map of this in just a second, you're going to understand why there might be a sentiment of doing the stadium closer to downtown, west of I-4 downtown. Other real estate sources have told Orlando Business Journal there is chatter for the baseball stadium to be built east of Camping World Stadium, former Citrus Bowl, right? On 17.3 acres owned by the city of Orlando, which are currently used for parking lots. This site could be combined with other privately owned land for development, sources told OBJ, the Orlando Business Journal, not Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, so here is the situation. That's I-4 running up and down here on your screen. So this is west of downtown Orlando. You've got Camping World Stadium, right? Outdoors for football right there. And the land next to it, I'll point out. You've got Inter & Co Stadium, which is the soccer pitch. That's down the road. And then right next to I-4 is the Kia Center, home of the Orlando Magic, home of an ECHL hockey team and other indoor events. So you've got kind of this stadium and arena area already. By the way, does it feel a little bit redundant to have two stadiums within a couple blocks of each other, like Inter & Co. and Camping World? Just like, okay, a little bit redundant, but I get it. Inter & Co., they wanted to make it a soccer-specific stadium. But what they're talking about here is that pin drop, that parking lot right next to Camping World Stadium. Like if you're going to put all your stadiums in one area and then kind of revitalize that West Church Street Avenue, if you're going to kind of do that, maybe keep this all together, maybe up this neighborhood and make it more of an Orlando thing rather than hey, it's out by the theme parks. Hey, it's a tourism type situation. So I understand that. I'm not here to say I have an opinion on that, but I understand the other point of view. John Boyd Jr., principal of site selection from let me try that again. John Boyd Jr., principal of site selection firm The Boyd Company, said a potential downtown stadium would come alongside the ongoing effort to continue to invest in the city's urban core. The challenge, he said, is that there's the potential for disruptions for businesses in the area should traffic change or properties have to be developed. Totally understand that, right? Like if you're going to build a brand new, huge baseball stadium there, it might complicate things for a while. Quote, that proposed site off International Drive, the one that the Dreamers have been pitching, is just a premier site given its proximity to the Orange County Convention Center, which is going through a major expansion over the next 2 to 3 years, Boyd said. Boyd also suggested having a number of available sites could help the team when negotiating for the property it wants. So there's another aspect of it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket on International Drive. Have some options because we've seen it before. You put all your hope and all your promise into one spot and it doesn't work out, and then you're basically back to square one. The other part about it is baseball stadiums and convention centers. Do those two things need each other? Like I realize in San Diego, for example, Petco Park happens to be built right across the street from the convention center, but the convention center's been there forever, and Petco Park is also next to the Gaslamp District. I just don't know, like convention center, ballpark. What do those two things do necessarily for each other? Are you trying to get business people to come to baseball games and support you all summer long? I don't know if that's going to be how it works. Anyway, a site debate, I don't know if it's that. It's a site conversation. This is eventually going to be a challenge for the Dreamers. The farther along they get in this process, the more people are going to have opinions and talk about this, and politicians are going to want their say one way or the other. So they've painted the picture that it's going to be easy, that this is their site, this is what they're going to do. But as we know in these situations, it just is inevitably going to get a little bit more complicated. Again, I'll say this disclaimer because you've made it to the end of the video. I talk a lot about these Orlando Dreamers. I'm just bringing this up. This is not necessarily my hope, my dream for the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm not a big proponent of teams relocating, and especially under the situation and circumstances that fans in Tampa and St. Pete have already been through. So I'm just pointing this out. I have no horse in the race, but I do think it is an interesting story to cover. Hopefully you agree. And because of that, thumbs up down below. I greatly appreciate that. Drop some comments in there, how you feel about all this. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so I can definitely see you back here next time.